All right. Welcome into this edition of the Milwaukee Bucks on Tap podcast. Corey Moen, Evan Byrne. Evan, how are we doing?
Honestly, not too bad. Not too bad. Can't complain. The weather's getting a little nice. Got a car wash yesterday. I feel good. How much you needed one?
A much needed car wash?
I have a black car, so then it shows a lot more, and I really needed that salt to disappear.
I feel you. I 100% feel you. All right, let's get right into the topics. First up, Giannis is staying on the Bucks through the deadline after probably months and months.
Felt like an eternity
of different pundits saying that he was going to leave. So, Evan, were you surprised about that?
I wasn't surprised that they didn't trade him. I think I was more surprised at the response that Giannis had, like with his social media posts. I think that one kind of surprised me a little more, just because that deems it more of like I'm staying, not like, oh, I didn't get traded now, I don't say anything, which means most likely it's going to happen over the summer. But no, I wasn't surprised that the non-deadline trade. I feel like if it would have happened, it would have not have been such a late thing into the deadline, or like if it's a day before, it's like I really don't think they're going to end up pulling the trigger on it. But yeah, no, it was more of his response that kind of shocked me the most, in a positive way, obviously. But I think that was the biggest thing about it, just because you really didn't hear anything about it or anything from him throughout that time. And he finally speaks out when, like, post-trade deadline, I guess, with his Instagram post with the Wolf of Wall Street quote.
I wasn't surprised because I kind of knew throughout there were no teams that had enough to get him.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were different teams. You heard the Timberwolves.
Yep.
And you heard the Heat were probably the most serious contenders. And I just don't think that either team just had enough assets to get him. It was looking more and more like Minnesota. But the Bucks are like, all right, well then give us like Jane McDaniels and then several draft picks. And I don't think Minnesota was like, I don't think they were willing to meet that. And I've said all along about the Miami Heat, they hold a death grip on their young assets. They do not give up any young assets, because you've seen for years that, with the Damian Lillard trade, rumors, it was, we'll give up like Tyler Hero, and everybody else is just like, no.
It's always Tyler Hero.
Always Tyler Hero. And look, I would have been intrigued if they would have given up somebody like Khalil Ware, but I still think they're high on him. And I mean, again, Giannis probably threw some teams out there that he would like to go to. Reportedly, the Raptors were in there, but the Raptors were like, okay, well, we're not giving up Scotty Barnes or Brandon Ingram. So that was already a non-starter. The Warriors, I mean, realistically, did I expect them to trade for Draymond Green and some draft picks or Pudzinski? No, that didn't make them. There just weren't any deals that involved like any impactful players that I think any Bucks fan would have been comfortable with.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, no, sorry.
No, you're good. And I just think you have to be careful because they say what the Mavs blueprint was last year. Anthony Davis got traded a year later. And so I think the Bucks were mindful of that. Just like, well, I don't want to, like, let's not do that to where we just blow up our franchise just to blow up our franchise. So, now, am I confident that, Milwaukee can build a contender around Giannis? No, I'm not. And here's the reason why. Before this, they were out of the first round, like, the last 3 years. They hadn't made it into the second round since 2022. So, I think when you look at it, I'm not confident that this team could put a contender around Giannis because the evidence has showed that the roster construction has been flawed. When you have no draft picks, okay, and the trades you do make haven't made much of a dent, and when you've gotten rid of guys who have gone on to do a lot better in their second or third home versus Milwaukee, that's where I have an issue. And, I mean, the other issue I have is I think Milwaukee, I don't like to use the word tank.
Yeah.
It would be the best course of action for them to tank because the last thing you want, Evan, the last thing you want is for them to get a little momentum. And then ownership and GM looks at it just like, oh, my God, this team has a little momentum here.
Yep. And then they don't do anything.
Let's keep Doc Rivers. No.
Yep.
No.
Let's run it back.
No. This team has no momentum. Okay. And this season, or this little 3-game winning streak that they're on, I'm sorry, that's not impressive to me. First of all, it's their first 3-game win streak of the year.
Yep.
Second of all, it's against 3 really bad teams.
And they almost blew the last 2 of them.
Yeah, so so I'm sorry that I'm not going to throw a ticker tape parade for when they go to overtime against the 13-win Pelicans. I'm sorry that I'm not going to do that. I don't know what more you want me to say. It does not impress me. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know what more you want me to say. I would like for them to lose the rest of their games. I understand. It sounds like they get the worst of the draft picks. I don't.
Yeah.
However the draft lottery situation is going to figure out, I'll worry about that after the season. But at this moment in time, I think the Milwaukee should try to, and, they're already doing it. I mean, without saying it, they're already kind of look, and I understand what Giannis said about, hey, I want us to come back and we're going to make a push for the playoffs. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, for what reason? Okay. Now, do I think Doc Rivers knows his personnel that well? No. Because I honestly thought that Pete Nance, what he showed in the preseason, I thought he earned a spot in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I think what Ajax brings, I think he's earned a spot. Okay. Jericho Sims, very hit or miss guy, but he can roll the rim. He can dunk. So it's just I just don't understand why Doc Rivers just didn't go to some of these guys sooner. All right, I could understand the trades, right? I could understand, and actually, we're going to transition right into that, because just a quick aside before we actually get into it is that I can understand why Milwaukee made the trades that they did, right? Trading, Cole Anthony and Amir Coffey. That the original deal was Nigel Hayes-Davis.
Yep.
And Nick Richards. Later, they expanded that to be, Ousmane Dieng from, I believe he was from OKC, if I'm not mistaken. I forgot.
Yep. Yeah, he was.
He was OKC. Okay. And hasn't made much of a mark in the league. His most notable accomplishment was he won the 2024 G League MVP, in which he scored 25 points, grabbed 4 rebounds, 2 blocks. So, I mean, that stuff's impressive. And I think they are going to be high on him. And then they ended up releasing, Hayes-Davis.
Yep.
And he's probably going to go back to Europe. So, I mean, again, I think Milwaukee was going to do a smaller salary type of deal. It does suck for somebody like Cole Anthony because I honestly did not think that Cole Anthony played all that bad.
Yeah, no, I felt bad too because he intentionally signed with the Bucks. I want to be here. This is the team I was looking for, and then they ship him out at the deadline.
I know, and again, you can see it coming because he hadn't been in the rotation 2 months until Doc Rivers got desperate, had a couple injuries, and then they're like, all right, we have Cole Anthony, and I was like, I mean, this guy can. I mean, I'm going to assume it was defense based because I don't even think he wasn't even that bad when he was in.
No.
Like Amir Coffey, like that's a like Amir Coffey had his best game the other night against. I'm gonna have to be reminded of the team that they played, but he scored like 16 points. I think, which I mean, I think they always kind of knew of like we're probably gonna ship out Amir Coffey because, like, again, he had never really been like a regular member of the rotation.
Yeah.
Maybe like the first week or two, and then his thing is like, look, when I see Amir Coffey play, it's like, does this guy make anything? Because I know it's gonna sound really disrespectful, but it's just when I watch him play, like it feels like every time he shoots, he misses.
Yeah, he was like the semi Ojue, like like they have this guy for a little bit, like not really like a part of the team, but if they trade him, it's like cool. But yeah, it was bound to happen. He doesn't play, or he's just like a decent player to then trade eventually.
Yeah, I mean, originally he was like signed on as like a training camp deal,
Mm-hmm.
and then he made the roster. But I mean, look, did I think he deserved to be? No, I don't think he deserved to be a regular part of the rotation. But like I don't know about the guy that they traded for. He's not scored much. I think he's been in like up here in 136 games. I think that sounds right. And I'm gonna hopefully assume he plays defense. Nobody else on that team seems to want to.
Yeah, I know he was hurt for a little bit. But yeah, he was the 11th overall pick though in 22, so it's like, you're getting a lottery pick and G League champion, G League Finals MVP,
Yeah.
NBA championship. He played in Game 7 this past finals, so obviously you're getting a little bit of decency, and they obviously bought out Nigel Hayes, assuming they're either going to sign Pete Nance to a full year deal or pick up someone in the buyout. But I know they're trying to do some moves, but I think getting this guy, I think was going to be a little more productive future wise than getting Nick Richards, personally.
Yeah, I mean, and that was always kind of a weird trade because they already have a surplus of bigs.
Mm-hmm.
So it would not have made sense to keep Nick Richards on the roster.
And again, not like either or was a huge needle mover, but I think future wise, you're going to want to go with the younger guy than the guy who's 28. Yeah. Richards, 28. I didn't realize he was already 28. I kind of called him old, and here I am at 28.
Hey, no shade.
22 to 28. It's a little bit of a difference.
I think next up, media pundits are mad about. Well, I'm going to rephrase that because they're not mad. It's just media pundits caught with their pants around their ankles after Giannis didn't get traded. Shams and Brian Windhorst have been saying for months that Giannis asked for a trade. These are the teams he wants to go to. And, even recently, Shams was like, oh my God, this, he just kept hyping up a Giannis trade. Guess what didn't happen?
I don't think Giannis got traded.
I don't think Giannis got traded either. And look, I understand a lot of people are going to be mad at Shams. Deservedly so. Okay. But also, let's not act like number one, I think we all knew. And Thanasis even alluded to this the other day. We don't talk to him. Like, I can understand when the media pundits are like, Shams is getting this from somewhere. Yeah, from somebody not in the Giannis camp.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to quote the great Aaron Rodgers, they don't know shit about me. And that's the whole thing that we all knew about Shams. He didn't know anything about Giannis. They're not particularly close.
Yep.
Okay? If you want, insider knowledge of like what Giannis is thinking, read Jim Razorski's article about him on the Journal Sentinel. That's what Giannis is thinking. He was like, I don't want to leave. And that's what we've kind of felt all along. All right? Read the beat writers. Read the people who are around him every day. That's why you can get a good, litmus test of how Giannis is feeling. And if you want to read like a national person, Chris Haynes. Chris Haynes is very close to the Giannis camp. And Chris Haynes even came out and said the other day, he never requested a trade, which he said all along. He's never going to request a trade. So I just don't know why these media pundits are making it more than what it should be.
Yeah, I think my two favorite things from the Giannis rumors. One, I saw a tweet of one of the games that the Bucks had like right before the deadline. Someone tweeted like Giannis just got up off the bench and has left the bench, left the like arena area, and someone said they retweeted like Giannis just came back 2 minutes ago with a bag of Skittles. It's like leaves for a second, people are like, oh my god, it's happening. And then my other one was again like I think it was Brian Windhorst had tweeted that the Bucks were planning on sitting Giannis for the rest of the season, and then it came out with like Giannis is actually moving a lot faster in his healing process and might be back before the All-Star break. It's like two completely different moves, I guess, that have no idea with what the beat reporters are saying.
Yeah, and you know who tweeted that? Eric Dame. You know what Eric Dame does? Covers the Bucks on a regular basis.
Crazy.
It's so dumb, and all these and you know what? I saw something the other day from Michelle Beadle, who was sitting there and was like, "Yeah, you can't have it both ways, man. Like everybody needs to be a villain." First of all, Michelle, okay, you're on your 7th job. Shut up, okay? Respectfully, zip it. All right, she's out of like 7 jobs. All right, and she's gotten paid very well in all of them. Okay, but what? You're sitting up there on your full FanDuel thing with Chandler Parsons and Lou Will and DeMarcus Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's the panel. Those are the so-called NBA experts that we're talking about right now. All right, I understand Shams works hard. Okay, it's hard to be an insider or whatever he is. Like it's hard to be on your phone 23 hours a day. I get it. That's not a job that there's no work-life balance in that. You can never take a vacation. You're always working. I understand that. I understand he works hard. But, Woj didn't do this. Woj wasn't out here just like perpetrating rumors for clicks. And that's what Shams is doing. Somebody called Shams Josina Anderson with a bigger platform. And honestly, he's not wrong. That person tweeted that was not wrong. Because he was just perpetrating rumors about Giannis for 3 years.
And has gone
3 years. Ever since that man got hired by ESPN, okay, that's all he was doing. Kendrick Perkins said we were holding him hostage. Trust me, Evan, I have a list of everyone who said stuff about us throughout this deadline, before this deadline. And Kendrick Perkins was also the same person who, like 2 weeks ago, was like, "Oh my God, I'm just sick and tired of just talking about Giannis. Like he needs to make a decision." And now it's on the Bucks to be like, "We're holding him hostage." Make it make sense.
Yep, they would have traded him.
It
doesn't make sense.
It's just the people that cover the NBA, like that just fully cover the NBA. I'm sorry, but with this Giannis situation, they had their pants around their ankles. They had no idea what they were talking about. None of them.
I feel like it has never been this bad with a player except for Giannis. I feel like I can't truly remember a time where a player got this much attention for wanting to like be, I guess, traded out of a team or out of a city.
And by the way, is it illegal for him to start thinking about his future? And we're always like, and here's a problem too. That's no different from like anybody like that currently works and you've been doing something for a long ass time. Okay, everybody thinks about their future. Okay, Giannis has said if they want to be competitive, as long as they're competitive and they win championships, I will be here. but I'm never going to request out of Milwaukee. And you know what he didn't do? He didn't request out of Milwaukee. Okay? But they're just trying to make it something that they're not. All right? Shams is trying to say, like, oh, well, he wants to go to the Knicks.
Does Giannis
last
know?
time you know what? If the Knicks wanted to have him, they could have had him.
Correct.
Okay? But they believe in this current core. So that's the disconnect for me, where it's just like you write all these stories, you perpetrate all these rumors, and he's still on the team. Now look, we're not out of the woods yet because we got to see what the summer is going to bring.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to see if the summer is going to bring some assets. All right, and if Milwaukee wants to truly build a contender around him, keep the damn draft picks, develop players.
Mm-hmm.
You're not winning with your current roster. I don't know what more I can tell you. Like, you're going to have to trade some players this offseason. Okay? To get more talent. Because I can tell you right now, you're not winning a championship with Kevin Porter Jr. as your lead guard. AJ Green, Gary Trent Jr. Well, Gary Trent's been a little hit or miss this year.
Yeah,
but like AJ Green, Ryan Rollins, those are good pieces to have.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's either trade some guys for some picks this year, or again, like you said, tank more. If they win, cool. If they don't, awesome. You can get a higher draft pick. Work around that guy this next. It's like there's ways to do it, but a lot of the things that I guess they're trying to do itself just again aren't working. Gary Trent, they re-signed all these guys to hopefully build a better roster this year, and clearly hasn't worked. But yeah, they'll definitely do some stuff in the summer. Again, I truly don't think they'll trade him this summer, and I think they're going to try to get a new coach and then trade a couple guys for either some picks for this season or for this summer's draft, and then or just more younger or veteran type guys and see how next year goes. And if it doesn't work, we'll go from there. But yeah, again, there would just be, I feel like, more hints of the Bucks wanting to move away from Giannis, I feel like, than there actually are.
Look, and people need to stop acting like Milwaukee's just 2 players away for them to be back in contention. They're not.
Correct.
They're not just 2 players away. Okay? Because you can get the players, but the other thing you got to have the mentality. Milwaukee does not have the right mentality right now from what I've seen. I get it. They've won 3 straight games. But are the new players going to help us rebound?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to play defense? Are they not going to take on the mindset of their coach where anytime something goes wrong, we have an excuse just lined up for it? That's the thing. That is the one thing I hate about Doc Rivers. Okay, he's coached so many talented teams, but he never takes responsibility for his own shortcomings. It's always someone else's fault, and I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Doc Rivers has not been successful as coach. Okay, nobody wants him as coach. All right, if he retired tomorrow, he's not getting another head coaching job unless there was a team that was truly desperate. Doc Rivers has won 1 championship, and it was back in 2008.
With a God squad, too. Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce. It's like
Rondo,
all these guys,
Perkins,
too. Yeah, Rondo. Yeah, all these guys where it's like he didn't have the come-up story. Yep.
Just because you win a title 18 years ago, and I get it. On record, he does have a title. That doesn't mean I believe that he's going to be the next guy to at least their championship, because he did not make an Eastern Conference Finals with the Philadelphia 76ers. The last one he made, I believe, was in 2012. Okay, when he was with the Boston Celtics. That is the last time he got that far in the playoffs.
Yeah, never did it with the Clippers. Never.
No.
Hasn't done it
since. Stop acting like Doc Rivers has blown the most 3-1 leads out of any coach in NBA history. Do you know how hard it is to be that incompetent at your job?
One could happen, here or there, but yeah, to do it more than once once you hit that 2 mark, it's like, all right, let's.
Like, goodness. By the way, he made it clear he didn't even want to coach. He didn't want to coach his team. And it's like, oh, well, we got an uphill battle at a 30-13 team. So that's the other issue I have. It's just like, all right, he didn't even want to coach us in the first place. So why are we keeping him? Like, what's the point of keeping him? How is he any better than what we had right now, what we had before?
And now we're 3 seasons or like 2.5 seasons in.
Yeah, and we all knew it wasn't going to work. We're not idiots. We've watched the NBA. Like, that's a problem with ownership in these front office members. They're acting like fans just don't watch the NBA. We're aware of what Doc Rivers was before he got there. Like, it's not like, oh my God, I wonder what we're going to get from Doc Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
We knew. Like, we knew this was going to happen. We knew there was going to be like a blown lead in the playoffs. And, they were going to fall short. We knew that's who Doc Rivers has been. But he somehow gets all these jobs. I just don't understand it. It's like, goodness gracious, does regular season success matter or not? Like Mike Budenholzer got fired after like another great regular season, but oh my God, he fell short of the playoffs. Well, why is that different from Doc Rivers? We're barely scraping by with him.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, it's just the problem. Well, here's the problem. The problem is now we got when you add a brain dead owner to the mix like Jimmy Haslam, that's exactly what's going to happen. Like when you add a moron who knows nothing about what Milwaukee is, because he's a Cleveland guy. He's from Ohio. Knows nothing about Milwaukee. Okay, he knows nothing about making good decisions. Okay, he's never worked for anything in his life because he's the son of a billionaire. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, those guys have to work hard for their inheritance. Yeah. I wonder how he made his money. It's because his dad was rich too. So when you add all that up, it's just and you get a brain dead owner.
It's going to be an interesting summer, to say the least, with all the potential things they're probably going to do, or hope we do, but who knows? I think the biggest thing, though, is they got to get rid of Doc Rivers, and I think they kind of are on that line as well.
So moving on to the next topic. Giannis buying a stake in a gambling company. In case you guys missed it, it was announced yesterday Giannis bought a stake in this gambling company called Koshki.
Yeah,
I think is what it's called. I don't know much about it. I do know the rules surrounding it. So, an athlete, like an NBA player, can buy a 1% stake in a gambling company, which I don't think there's many people that realize that. But he can buy a small stake in a gambling company, and I understand that that people don't like about oh my God, you can't have a player be associated with gambling, blah blah blah. Look, that's the way of the world. Okay, gambling unfortunately now is the way of the world. Everything is tied. Most things are just tied to gambling. All right, and I mean you either gotta adapt or die with it, and I don't know what this means. Okay, I know there's groundswell and nervousness of an athlete being just associated with it. I mean, as long as he's not betting on games and stuff to where he can risk his future, it really does not affect my purview. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it was weird, but knowing Giannis, he owns quite a few different stakes or he owns part of the Brewers. He has a soccer team, I know, and just other smaller stakeholds. No, but this betting one is you could bet literally anything. I bet that in Matthew Stafford's MVP speech, he was going to say, I love my family. And then he says that, then you can get money for it. It's the randomest things you can bet on, but I truly just think he is doing it for the stakehold and the money for it.
It doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't. It does not affect my bottom line. It shouldn't affect his bottom line. It doesn't make me nervous. Again, as long as he's not doing anything with it, gambling or risk his future, it doesn't. Again, he's trying to set his family up for wealth that they could have down the road. So it doesn't. It really doesn't bother me in the slightest.
Sure, is it a little weird? Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's not. I don't. I just see it as the future and money kind of thing. Because again, it's not the first time he's bought stake in anything. And sure, is it a gambling company? Yeah, but as long as he doesn't gamble on games, I could care less what this man does. And people, I feel care so much about what another person does with their money and life.
All right. last topic of the day. What should Milwaukee do the rest of the way? Should they tank for like a to have a chance for a decent draft pick, or should they try to actively win games for a play-in spot?
See, it's tricky because with our past draft experience with Mr. Horst, he's not the best drafter, especially in the first round. However, I feel like it'd be a little different though with a top lottery pick. Again, I feel like we're always picking like 17 to like a little bit to the end of the first round where we're trying to like find a needle in a haystack and see if the next person they draft is Giannis, and that never is because they trade him. But I feel like if they can just continue to play with the roster that they have out there, like Pete Nance, Jericho Sims, maybe throw Ajax out there and some of those guys and just play around with that and then throw Giannis in the mix. You're not going to tell Giannis to sit. That's just kind of silly. He's not going to also sit too for a guy who tries hard in the All-Star game. You're not going to tell this guy to sit and he'll be like, yeah, I'm fine with that. I just think just kind of play it out and see what happens. If you end up making a play-in team, cool. Would it be a lot nicer though to have a nice draft pick? By all means, yes, because that could be your key piece going into next season. Again, depending on the player you get, I'm assuming they'll probably get like a 5th or 6th pick, but I wouldn't necessarily say to tank, but I would just play how they have been. Sometimes it's pretty good with Giannis in there, or sometimes it really isn't. Again, they've lost 3-1 to the Wizards, and Giannis has played in multiple of those games. So I feel like they could still end up tanking with Giannis playing. Yeah, I just feel like play it out how they've been doing the last week or two or so, and just see where Pete Nance can take him, if he can take it to the promised land of a playing team or not. But I think tanking, I feel like a lot of people will kind of talk a little bit about it, but I'm either or. I don't think they should truly try to get past. They won't get past the playing team, that's for sure. There's no way. But I just kind of see play how they continue to play with the rotations that they have, and just go from there. If they end up making a play in, cool. But again, I would kind of rather have that nicer draft pick. Again, not assuming that the Bucks are all of a sudden going to make some legendary run play into first. It's not going to happen. So you might as well just play it out and go from there. But no, they're too much into a hole of trying to pull something further than I feel like they have been. But I wouldn't necessarily say yes, tank, but see where it takes you. But yeah, they haven't been doing well with or without Giannis, so they could still end up doing it with him in the lineup.
I would tank, and here's why. I've already kind of accepted that this is a lost season.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't done particularly well without Giannis in the lineup.
Yep.
With Giannis in the lineup, it feels like he's had to carry a heavier scoring load than he has originally. And look, I know this season's been incredibly frustrating for him. And he's basically kind of criticized the makeup of this team, where he said essentially, I don't like the way that we play sometimes. We don't I don't feel that he was essentially I don't feel that joy playing like when we win like 50 games.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see it on his face. He's looked frustrated at times on the bench and stuff. And I just think that because Milwaukee has made this team make up to be a lot of shooters, a lot of shoot first guys, they're going to look for their shot, and they're not always going to play the right brand of basketball. And I think he's just used to playing with unselfish guys. He's used to playing with guys like a Drew Holiday, like a Brook Lopez, like a Middleton,
Mm-hmm.
like a even throwing like Grayson Allen in the mix, right? Guys who are unselfish, can pass the ball, we can move it around a little bit, but sometimes the offense stagnates a little bit, Evan, and it just feels like this team. Specifically, I will throw his name. He can score. Don't get me wrong. Kevin Porter Jr. is the shoot first guard.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Rollins has been great, but But again, Ryan Rollins is a great player. He's not a difference making player. He's not like a number 2 on a team.
Correct.
Right? I don't think that's his capability. Gary Trent, like I said, struggled to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Green has been a lot. AJ Green's
He's been
building
heating up recently. He started off pretty slow, but the last 2 games he's definitely heated up.
But then you go to the rest of the roster, and then it's like Miles Turner's iffy.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been good. I don't think it's been as bad as people think he's been.
Yeah.
But again, then you go down to the rest of the roster, and they're like, all right, Kuzma can draw fouls. Kuzma's been a bit of a scoring binge, but again, when you just go with like a bunch of shoot first guys, then it's like, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Then I can see where Giannis be like, we can't win this way. This isn't sustainable.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where like they have good players on their roster. It's like it's not like, oh my God, like what am I looking at? It's not a bunch of no-name guys. It's like all pretty good players. However, like you said, it's just so many of them are either the shoot first or their play style just doesn't mesh correctly with everyone else, where it's like when one guy's on the floor with someone else, like, like one's going to shoot more, one's going to shoot less. And yeah, things don't add up correctly. But again, Kyle Kuzma has not been bad this year. He hasn't been like outstanding, but he's been a good contributor. But again, some things don't match up with some of the other guys on the team. So yeah, I just feel like some of these guys might be, on the trading block or might not. Yeah. So we'll have to see. But I think, yeah, the biggest thing is they're going to have to do something to allow themselves to play around Giannis. So again, if that is tanking and whoever they were to pick, is it going to be another shooting guard? Is it going to be a new power or another center? Who knows? But yeah, I lean more tank just because, again, I don't want to make the plan and then they lose. I'm like, oh, well, that was all worth it for nothing. And yeah, it's however they would do in the draft based off of the pick that they get. But no, this is definitely a wash season. I don't think they can really do anything at this point in the buyout market or adjustments that would be like, all right, they're somehow making a push. But no, you just got to regroup and recoup for next year and just kind of see where that summer takes you with Giannis and then potential draft and who knows coaching and trades that they can make as well.
All right. Evan, you got anything else?
I do not know. Again, All-Star week is coming up. I kind of threw me off guard. I haven't really heard anything about dunk contest or 3-point, but no, it should be good. And then hopefully come back stronger. I know they're talking about Giannis potentially coming back for the All-Star breaker just after too. So hopefully we'll see him back on the court soon.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to this latest edition of the Milwaukee Bucks on Tap podcast. And we'll see you guys next week.